The year is 216 AD. The location is the sweeping sun-baked plains outside the ancient city of Arbela, deep within the Parthian Empire. The ground beneath your soft leather boots is vibrating with the movement of 50,000 horses. You are standing at the absolute center of the only superpower on Earth that consistently makes the Roman Empire tremble. To the west, the Romans rule through the rigid, marching iron of their infantry legions. But here, in the vast open expanses of the Iranian plateau and the Mesopotamian basin, the world is ruled from the saddle. Using advanced AI trained on surviving Parthian reliefs, the archaeological excavations of ancient fortress cities, and the detailed historical accounts of Cassius Dio and Herodian, we have meticulously reconstructed a day that changed the ancient world forever. We are going to explore a civilization that commanded the Silk Road, perfected the most devastating cavalry tactics in history, and operated under a fierce feudal code of honor. Imagine wearing armor made of pure bronze scales, managing the endless flow of Chinese silk and Indian spices, and standing at the epicenter of the greatest, most devastating political betrayal of the ancient era. This is 24 hours as an elite Parthian commander. The day begins at 5 a.m. The sky over the Zagros Mountains turns a pale, striking shade of gold. You do not wake up in a stifling, heavy stone palace. The Parthian kings and their noble courts are highly mobile, retaining the fierce, free spirit of their nomadic steppe ancestors. You wake up inside a massive, incredibly luxurious silken pavilion. The walls of the tent are woven with intricate, brightly dyed geometric patterns, and the floor is covered in thick, priceless Persian carpets that insulate you from the cold, hard earth. You dress carefully, wearing garments that shock and fascinate the Western world. You wear a finely embroidered, long-sleeved silk tunic, dyed in brilliant hues of crimson and lapis lazuli. But most importantly, you wear trousers. The baggy, elaborately patterned shalwar are an absolute necessity for a life spent on horseback. You strap a heavy, gold-inlaid belt around your waist, securing your short, curved dagger. You are an Azad, a high-ranking nobleman and a commander of the legendary Parthian Cataphracts. By 7 a.m., you step out of your pavilion and walk through the sprawling, temporary city of the royal encampment. The air is thick with the smell of roasting mutton, sweet cardamom, and the incredibly sharp, musky scent of thousands of horses. The wealth of the Arsacid dynasty is staggering. Parthia sits directly across the absolute center of the Silk Road. Every single caravan carrying jade and silk from the Han dynasty of China, or spices from the deep ports of India, must pass through your toll networks to reach the Mediterranean. The Parthian merchants are the ultimate, undisputed middlemen of antiquity, heavily taxing the flow of global luxury. You walk toward the vast, organized picket lines of the cavalry. You are inspecting your mount. This is not a standard, lightweight desert horse. This is a Nisean, a massive, incredibly powerful breed of warhorse cultivated specifically in the lush pastures of the Zagros Mountains. The horse is towering, thick-necked, and bred for one singular, terrifying purpose: to carry over 200 pounds of solid metal into the heart of an enemy formation. You run your hand over the wooden racks holding your armor. It is a masterpiece of defensive engineering. Overlapping scales of bronze and iron are stitched tightly to heavy leather backing, designed to cover you entirely from the neck down to your ankles. Even your massive Nisean horse has its own custom-fitted scaled armour, the barding, that protects its chest, flanks and head. When the Parthian Cataphracts charge, they look like an unstoppable wall of moving, glittering metal. But today, the heavy armour remains perfectly folded on the wooden racks. Your heavy, 14-foot iron lance, the Kontos, is left leaning against the tent pole. Today is a day of absolute, unprecedented celebration. By 10 a.m., the atmosphere in the sprawling camp reaches a fever pitch of excitement. A massive diplomatic and royal convergence is happening. The Roman Emperor Caracalla has marched his legions deep into Parthian territory, but he has not come to conquer. He has come with a proposal that will fundamentally rewrite the geopolitical map of the world. Caracalla has formally asked for the hand of the daughter of your ruler, the King of Kings, Artabanus IV, in marriage. The concept is staggering. The union of the Roman emperor and a Parthian princess would instantly merge the two greatest, most powerful empires on the face of the earth into a single, unstoppable global alliance. Caracalla claims he wishes to emulate Alexander the Great, fusing the East and the West into eternal harmony. The King of Kings, desiring a permanent end to centuries of exhausting border wars, has accepted the proposal. You walk toward the central gathering plains outside the ancient city of Arbela. The Parthian nobility has turned out in their absolute finest attire. There are no shields, there are no drawn bows. Tens of thousands of Parthian nobles, musicians, and citizens have gathered in the open fields, holding garlands of flowers, singing traditional songs, and carrying silver cups filled with sweet, highly prized wine. It is a festival of profound, immense joy. The long, bitter rivalry with Rome is finally, permanently over. By 1 p.m., the sun is shining brilliantly over the vast, open plain. The drums echo across the valley, and the Roman procession finally appears on the horizon. You stand near the royal pavilion of King Artabanus, watching the approach. The Roman legionaries march in perfect, tight formations, but they do not look like a diplomatic escort. Caracalla rides at the front, his face set in a rigid, cold expression. The Roman soldiers are wearing their heavy woolen traveling cloaks, which seems highly unusual for the sweltering heat of the Mesopotamian afternoon. The Romans enter the vast celebratory crowd of unarmed Parthians. The music is loud, the wine is flowing, and the Parthian hosts eagerly step forward to welcome their new allies. You watch Caracalla closely. He raises his hand. He does not offer a greeting. He gives a sharp, sudden, and terrifyingly precise signal. In complete, absolute unison, thousands of Roman legionaries drop their heavy woolen cloaks into the dust. Hidden entirely beneath the fabric are their drawn, razor-sharp gladii, the brutal, close-quarters short swords of the Roman infantry. The festival instantly shatters. It is not a battle. It is an orchestrated, catastrophic ambush. The Romans break their marching formations and lunge directly into the unarmed, celebrating crowd of Parthian nobility. The shock is so profound, so completely outside the bounds of any recognized diplomatic code, that for a few seconds, the Parthians simply freeze in absolute disbelief. The peace treaty was a lie. The marriage proposal was a highly calculated, elaborate trap designed by Caracalla to lure the entire Parthian ruling class into an open field without their armour and without their horses. Total chaos erupts across the plains of Arbela. You do not have your heavy iron scales. You do not have your lance. You are wearing nothing but fine silk and a small ceremonial dagger. You immediately turn and sprint toward the royal pavilion. The Roman soldiers are swarming the perimeter, turning the wedding festival into a desperate, frantic scramble for survival. You and a dozen other elite Azad nobles instantly form a tight, desperate human shield around King Artabanus IV. You seize a dropped Roman spear from the dust. The Parthians are the undisputed masters of the open plains when mounted on their horses, but trapped on foot, surrounded by heavy Roman infantry. The situation is completely dire. You fight with terrifying, frantic intensity, using the sheer element of desperation to push back the advancing Roman shields. You manage to carve a narrow path through the surging crowds, retreating aggressively toward the tethered horses at the edge of the camp. You hoist the king onto the back of a fast, unarmored horse, striking the animal's flank. You vault onto your own mount, gripping the reins tightly, and gallop furiously away from the ambush, fleeing into the safety of the rocky foothills. By 5 p.m., you have reached a high, fortified ridge overlooking the valley. You are covered in the dust of the plains, your silken tunic torn. You look down at the catastrophic scene unfolding below. The Roman army is not pursuing you into the mountains. They know better than to chase Parthian cavalry into rough terrain. Instead, They are completely ransacking the abandoned royal camp. But Caracalla's treachery does not end with the ambush of the living. You watch as the Roman legionaries march directly into the ancient city of Arbela itself. This city is deeply, profoundly sacred. It is the site of the royal tombs of the Arsacid dynasty. It is where your ancestors and the past kings of Parthia are buried. You watch in absolute, sickening horror as the Roman soldiers systematically break open the ancient stone sepulchres. They drag the sacred remains of the Parthian kings out into the sunlight, scattering their bones and ashes into the desert wind, desecrating the absolute spiritual core of your civilization. It is an act of sheer, unforgivable disrespect designed to utterly humiliate the Parthian spirit. By 8 p.m, the sun sets, casting a dark, heavy shadow over the Zagros Mountains. You are sitting at a hidden, elevated encampment with the surviving commanders and King Artabanus. The atmosphere is not one of despair. It is an atmosphere of cold, absolute, unified fury. For years, the Parthian Empire has been suffering from internal divisions, with rival noble houses bickering for control. But today, Caracalla has made a fatal, catastrophic miscalculation. By committing an act of such profound, dishonorable treachery, he has instantly, permanently united the fractured Parthian clans. The deep internal civil wars vanish overnight, replaced by a singular, burning desire for total retaliation. You sit by a small, smokeless fire, checking the tension on your composite bow. This weapon is the true terror of the East. It is a masterpiece of ancient engineering made from layers of wood, horn, and animal sinew, glued together and cured for over a year. It has a draw weight so incredibly heavy that it requires a specialized thumb ring to pull the string back. It can fire an iron-tipped arrow with enough force to punch straight through Roman chainmail at over 100 yards. You practice the movement of the legendary Parthian shot. You twist your torso completely backwards while sitting on your saddle, simulating the act of firing a lethal, perfectly aimed arrow while your horse is galloping at full speed in the opposite direction. It is a tactic that has broken Roman legions for centuries, creating an illusion of retreat before unleashing a devastating storm of iron from the rear. You sharpen your arrows against a smooth riverstone, listening to the rhythmic metallic grinding echoing through the camp. By midnight, the mountain air is freezing. The royal messengers are already riding out into the dark, carrying the seal of the king to every corner of the empire. They are riding to the high plateau of Iran, to the deep deserts of the south, and to the borders of the Caspian Sea. They are calling the banners. They are summoning every single heavy cataphract, every horse archer, and every noble lord of the realm. You stand at the edge of the ridge, looking down at the distant, flickering campfires of the Roman army occupying your plains. Caracalla believes he has won a magnificent, decisive victory without fighting a single battle. He believes he has crippled the empire of the East. But you know the absolute truth. He has simply awakened a sleeping giant. The Romans rely on the sheer, immovable weight of their shield walls, but the Parthians are the wind. You cannot conquer the wind, and you cannot outrun a storm that fires arrows. You do not know that Caracalla's paranoia will eventually consume him, and that within a year he will be assassinated in the desert by his own resentful guards. You do not know that King Artabanus will soon lead the massive, unified Parthian cavalry back down from these mountains, completely crushing the Roman army at the legendary Battle of Nisibis, forcing them to pay an astronomical, humiliating ransom just to retreat back to Syria. But tonight, in the quiet, freezing air of the Zagros foothills, the promise of that reckoning is already etched into the stone. The history of the ancient world is defined by the profound consequences of arrogance and betrayal. The Parthian Empire would eventually face its own sunset, transitioning into the rise of the Sassanids, but they would forever hold the title of the only Eastern power that looked Rome in the eye and refused to bow. Their legacy of the heavily armored knight and the unmatched skill of the horse archer would echo through military history for another 1,000 years. This video is brought to you by the Paladin Learn History app. Scan the QR code to learn more history.